Hey Team EQRRC, this is Coach Wes, and we're here with the 48-hour warning. This time on Sunday morning, you guys are going to be out there on the course for the OC Half Marathon, and I want to give you a couple tips and tricks to really get you through the next 48 hours. We talked a lot in yesterday's message about how to really get appropriate rest, to start fueling up, but I want to actually talk about the next 48 hours and more specifically race day in particular. So the next 48 hours are actually going to become a little bit more important. And everybody, again, thinks that you got to carb load, and we talked about what foods, how much to take in, and how, quite honestly, we don't have to carb load all that much. But I want to talk to you about the importance of tonight's dinner. This is Friday. And the reason for that is your Saturday night dinner, the race is really early on Sunday, so you're not going to digest a ton of it. And a lot of times you end up overeating on Saturday night. So I really want you to, when we talk about that carb load, aim for tonight's dinner being your main carb load meal if you're going to have one. I would love to have you guys join us at Greenleaf in Costa Mesa. We'll be there at 5:30. And there's got some great dishes there that I can kind of steer you in the right direction for. Then as far as tomorrow goes, remember you have to pick up your packet in person. It has to be in person, signed with your waiver. So print that waiver off before you even get there. And that way you can get your bib and get ready to race. And then when it comes time for later on in the day, just try and stay off your feet as much as possible. Try and make it a relaxed day, a day where you're not really wasting a whole lot of energy. As far as other things to do tomorrow, really take in some extra fluids. For me, it always works to have a water bottle with me at every single second and have some type of electrolytes in that water bottle at all times. And that'll kind of get you to race day being hydrated and nourished and sufficiently fueled. Then let's talk about what to do the night before. I would really suggest laying out all of your gear, pinning your bib to your shirt the night before, having everything ready to go, because again, race day is really early, 6:15 on Sunday morning, and you want to kind of just be able to wake up and just get right into it. So get everything logistically out of the way that you can on Saturday night so that Sunday morning you can just get up and get ready to go. I will send you guys a location where some of us will meet before the race. That way if you want to meet, we can, but don't feel like you have to. A lot of times we get out there and race day is kind of all your own. I'll be out there on the course and hopefully I'll see some of you guys out there. And speaking of what the course and race day should look like, let's talk about the course just a little bit. We've run a lot of it as part of some of our long distance runs, so hopefully it's not unfamiliar. If it still is for some reason, you can see the course in its entirety online with a flyover. It's kind of a simulated flyover, but it's a really neat way to understand exactly where the course goes. I highly recommend you do that at the OC Marathon website. As far as how it lays out, I want you to think of the race in sections of 3. I want you to run the first third of the race, which is approximately the first 4.5 miles, with your body. I want you to use that as your time to let the breathing rate and the heart rate pick up nice and slow, to get into a zone, to feel good, most importantly. I know most of you have a goal as far as your pace, but this is really the time to base the first 4.5 miles off of a feel. It should be like a 6 out of 10. You should feel like you're breathing easy. The way this course sets up is that it gets more challenging in the second half. Do not fly and die. I can guarantee with this race, too many people will go out way too quickly and they'll pay for it in the later miles. So when you're getting out and you complete your first mile, you've just gotten out of Newport Center area, in the Fashion Island area, and you're coming down MacArthur, use that as your time to just kind of glide, to run easy, to run relaxed. Again, too many people will use that as their time to really start to build speed. You don't want to do that early in the race, especially if you haven't raced a half marathon before. As you then move down through Corona del Mar, there's lots of little rolling hills, and just stay consistent with your effort. And the last part that I really want you to stay consistent with your effort is just as you start to enter onto Bayside Drive. That's right at Bandera's Restaurant. There's a water stop right there. The cross streets are Marguerite and PCH essentially. And at that point, you're going to run down Bayside Drive. That might be a time to start opening up your stride length a little bit, because then you'll be hitting the middle third of your race. And then on that middle third of your race, the second 4.5 mile section, I want you to start running a little bit more with the mind. Get into a spot that feels like it's what a race should feel like, one foot in front of the other. Get into that mental mode where you're kind of zoning out and yet still coaching yourself at the same time. If you're finding yourself bunching up in the shoulders or your technique gets a little off, just coach yourself through it. This is the time to kind of get into your zone, to feel good more than anything else. That's going to take you all the way through your first hill up Dover Drive. That is going to be a big mental challenge. You'll be right around 7.5 miles, and you're going to hit that first significant hill, and you'll see a lot of people really slow down. And And it makes sense that you slow down when you're on a hill, but I want you to be consistent with your effort. We've run that during practice. We've run way worse than that during tread and shred class, so I just want you to be really, really strong as we head up Dover Drive. From there, you'll get into the last third of your race, the last 4.5 miles, from mile 9 or so to mile 13. And during that time, I really want you to start to run a little bit more with your heart. That's the part where we're going to be back in the neighborhood of Dover Shores. The train's going to start to roll a little bit more. And I want you to stay really, really consistent through Dover Shores. And then you're going to have your last big challenge of the entire race right around mile 10.5 or so. You're going to hit that last hill on Irvine Boulevard. Now the good thing is that you have some refreshments there. They'll have some goo, they'll have some water. I definitely suggest you grab some if you haven't already. But then I want you to power right up that hill, because at the top of that hill, you're right around mile 11, 11.5, and you've got just a short, less than 2 mile, flat, fast section to go to the finish line. So again, break it down in thirds. The first third, run with your mind, run with your body. Second third, run with your mind, and that last third, run with your heart. I'm super excited for it. We've trained really, really hard. Some of you guys have been with us for an entire calendar year, and you're more than ready for this. You're more than ready to have a great day. I'm looking forward to it. I'll be out there on the course. I'll be there at dinner tonight, and I'm here to answer any questions, ease any anxiety you might have, and hopefully I will talk to you soon. Have a good rest of your Friday.